And so what really powerful alpha women tend to attract, and if you're working with executives, this is who you're working with, they tend to attract the sweetie pie guys, because those guys are their law of electrodynamics kicking.
Our society is moving because women get to work now, women get paid equal, we want equal pay, equal this, and we're showing up now, and there's more single mothers than ever, and men becomes like this sperm donation, or we could go to the sperm bank, and we're not really having a relationship, and they like, I don't want to deal with a man because he's completely useless. And I'm like, well, it's still the father of the child. He has every right, the child has every right to see the father and get to know him, and it's part of his DNA as well, and to show up in this world. So I really want to hear about that as well. You know, I know that you have a program called the Single Syndrome and the Super Girl and stuff like that, and I think it's beautiful that you actually have that. And I do want to hear a little bit, and then we can wrap it up from there.
Okay. Oh boy, well that's like a 10-hour
I know, we can shorten that.
That's a really big topic. Yeah, so, you know, one of the things that was really exciting when I met Ernst was he was, of course, a fan of Pat Allen, and I was a fan of Pat Allen, and he figured out how the CUDA technique works with her work, which, of course, she was the first one to talk about. She's a therapist here in Southern California, no relation to me, she was the first to talk about masculine and feminine energy. Actually, she wasn't the first. She was building on Jung's work. And Jung, of course, Carl Jung, the analyst, the psychologist from Switzerland, who noticed that, you know, we all have an inner male and an inner female. And, you know, other psychologists might say we have our inner father who we've integrated or not integrated within us, and our inner mother. But we all have the whole. Even though your body has a physical gender, we know these days there's who you feel you are, which might not match. Then there's who you love, which might be independent of both of those, right? There's who you're sexually attracted to. I mean, it's a whole new world these days. It's great. It's great. But so we have the inner male, the inner female, and the only thing you cannot tell from a chart is gender. So a boy and a girl, twins, can be born at the same time. They're going to have essentially the same chart, especially if it was a C-section, which most twins are, right? It was just seconds apart or a minute, right? And you cannot tell gender. And what was fascinating when I learned astrology was that just like the Romance languages, right, just like Spanish and French, everything in astrology is genderized. Everything in astrology has a gender. So the planets have a gender and the signs have a gender. And so women can be born with masculine planets dominating or masculine signs dominating. Men can be born with feminine signs dominating and feminine planets dominating. And then a lot of us are like this weird mix. So sometimes we're one way and sometimes we're another. And when I say mean, and this is Pat Allen language, is positive, proactive, doing, thinking versus feeling, doing versus being, knowing what you want versus what you don't want, being more a person of logic and reason than a person of emotion. And then feminine is all the opposite of that. So it's more negative, not knowing what you want, more feeling versus thinking, and more being versus doing. So the law of electrodynamics says that for two people to come together, they have to be opposites, right? And the more opposite they are, the more energy that's created, more attraction that's created. The more similarity, the more they repel, right? So in certain circles, this is called polarity, right? sexual polarity, attraction polarity, right? So you find that when women are really masculine, the irony is they always want alpha guys, always. They're like, oh, I don't want a wimpy guy. I don't want a feminine guy, right? But the alpha guys, they run around with other alpha guys, right? And they don't want that in a woman. They want a woman that soothes them. They want to feel like she's like a relief or like a soft place to land, so to speak. And when they meet a really alpha woman, they're like, oh, I could hire her. And they'll really respect that woman, but they won't feel that law of electrodynamics kick in. They won't feel that like, wow. They won't feel that hotness. And so what really powerful alpha women tend to attract, and if you're working with executives, this is who you're working with, they tend to attract the sweetie pie guys, because those guys are their law of electrodynamics kicking in. And the sweetie pie guys, they don't respect those guys. But they are often attracted to those guys, and they are often soothed by those guys, and they'll like the attention. And a lot of those guys are hot and fun and, you know, smart. And so sometimes people think when I talk about feminine men, I'm talking about broken men. I'm not talking about broken men. I'm talking about men more intuitive, creative, sensitive, more in touch with their own feelings. I mean, and that's who I married, totally, right? And I love that. And it's why I said before, sometimes I'm like, come on. What do you mean you don't feel good and you're leaving the party, right? So, yeah, but enough about me. But yeah, so it's such a relief when women come and they get their reading and they go, oh my God, I have a totally masculine chart. This isn't my fault. I'm not just a ball buster for no reason. And the good news is masculine energy makes a person just want to do what works and really good at taking action. So they can become really good at taking action to be more feminine, right? And to, once they recognize that what they're doing isn't working to get them the kind of guy they want, they actually can, with awareness, lean more into their feminine, because of course they have that too, right? Because all the planets are in their chart and all the signs are in their chart. So of course they have a feminine side, and Jung would say, of course they do. So teaching masculine women how to be more feminine, it just changes their whole life, and it just completely amazes them. And I give workshops on this, and I always joke that I keep needing to take these workshops because I keep teaching them because I keep needing to take them. Yeah. And I keep running into this with like nephews. I have 3 nephews, and I'll forget that even they are men, right? Because they're teenagers, right? Or they're younger than I. So I'll do that like advice giving stuff, which is totally masculine, right? I'll do that like telling them what to do stuff, which is totally masculine, right? Yeah. And they want to kill me, right? So like all 3 of them at some point or another has basically like stopped returning my phone calls, tried to break up with me. And I just recently did it again with my youngest third nephew. And I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it again, right? So I'm being like more feminine now. I'm like, hey, whatever you think. And, you know, they're not my children, thank God. I don't have to raise them. But on dates, the #1 complaint of men, yeah, guess what it is?
Advice, not listening.
We're bossy.
Yeah.
Modern women are bossy.
Yeah.
Now we come by this honestly. Life is expensive. We have to get great jobs. We have to work hard, right? So we're rewarded all the time for being masculine. We get the best jobs. We get the best bonuses. We get the corner office. We get the titles. We get respect. Yeah. So we have developed all these kick-ass parts of ourselves that serve us very well until we're in relationships. Yeah. So this isn't our fault, and then a lot of the time, like I said, it's inborn anyway. Yeah. And but men, the #1 complaint men have on first and second dates with women is that we're bossy, and they do not like it. And when I explain this in seminars, women laugh in recognition. Yeah. So I'll say things like, when he suggests a restaurant, do you suggest a different one? When he wants to park somewhere, do you tell him where to park? Yeah. Do you tell him what to order? Yeah. You give him advice. You know, men tend to open up a lot to women because, and I'm speaking in sexist generalizations, forgive me, but these are, you know, where there's smoke and fire, stereotypes have truth, right? So men typically get most of their intimacy from women. Mm-hmm. So often in early dating and in relationships, they will complain a lot to us because that's their way of being intimate, right? They'll just share long, sad stories or whatever. I mean, women can't believe it on first dates. Men like turn it into therapy. And women are like, oh my God, shoot me. I want to die. This guy is so depressing and negative and boring, right? And men are like, wow, we're really connecting. This feels so good, right? And there's a way to turn that around, by the way. But so then women think, oh, he actually needs advice. He's actually asking for it. Mm-hmm. No. He wants you to go, gosh, Bob, you seem really amazing. I'm sure you'll figure it out, right? Gosh, Bob, a guy as handsome as you. Like, when a guy's complaining, it's your job to like build him up. It's not your job to solve it for him, right? And again, you're gonna get hate mail. I'm gonna get hate mail.
You know what? I think the modern society need a correction. So if we're actually getting hate mail, if there's something that we said that touched them.
True.
You gotta heal.
Well, and listen, everything I teach isn't fair. It's just what works. Do you want to do what works? Do you want to have like the life you want, or do you want to stay in the like right and wrong, fair or not fair zone? I always say fair is a 4-letter F word.
I love it.
Yeah, but so that's the whole masculine and feminine thing, and I will say, really feminine women have a lot of trouble too. Yeah. They can't say no, they people please, they can't set boundaries. They tend to wait to be chosen. Yeah. And sometimes the most beautiful, amazing, wonderful women, 7 years go by, 10 years go by between relationships. And I'm like, honey, you actually have to participate in this. You have to actually send signals. You have to actually make the effort. And the most beautiful women often get the least attention. And they're mystified because they know they're beautiful. Everybody's told them their whole lives. And they're mystified and they're like, Carol, nobody ever wants me. And I'm like, no, men are even more intimidated by you. Mm-hmm. If you don't smile or say hello or like get the ball rolling or like create the invitation. Yeah. I mean, feminine women in the Middle Ages would throw a hanky, right? Like if you don't create the invitation, men are going to go for the woman that if she rejects them, it's not as painful. So they go for the like less beautiful woman or the plain Jane in the corner that's like fun and saying hello and like making the effort. So like, come on, give a guy a break.
It's true. It's totally true. And I love that what you just said, that it's just creating an invitation and we just don't know how to connect with people. And then, you know, I just did a research that we touch our phone 150 times and we don't barely touch our partner. So I think that's where we're afraid of, is connection.
So bad. And I'm just as guilty. So bad. When smartphones first came along, my husband would always say, the end of intimacy, the end of intimacy. Like you check your phone at dinner or you check your phone in the morning before hugging them, you know. It's bad. It's a problem.
It is. Carol, I really love having you here. If any of my audience want to reach you, how can they reach you? What kind of service you're offering right now? I know maybe reading is not really your thing, but seminars is your thing. And I know that you're in Los Angeles. I'm contacting you in Vancouver. We're not so far apart. You're just linked to like a 2-hour plane ride for me.
Awesome. Come on down. I love it up there too. It's gorgeous.
Please let me know how a lot of my audience can contact you needing help.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm so blessed. Just like I had the best astrology mentors, I had the best marketing mentors. So I was so blessed to be trained by such incredible people. And I have a really fun, if I do say so myself, I have a really fun newsletter at loveisinthestars.com. And I have a bunch of videos there. And I sell a couple of reports by our dear, lovely, fabulous Ernst, right? I sell a report called the Right Man Report, which is a compatibility report that men or women can order. I have a capacity report. I have a report on timing called the Cycles of Saturn report, because 90% of my clients, when they would come through my door, were in a really painful cycle of Saturn or transit of Saturn to the sun, the moon, or the rising sign that was absolutely making making everything hard and making them feel like something was wrong with them and making them feel hopeless and depressed. And when I would talk about like what was going on, when it started and when it would end, they couldn't believe it. Like they were so blown away. And so I wrote a report about it. And so you can get that there. And then I have long, like 10 and 11 hour recordings, one called Make Every Man Your Hero, which is all my favorite, like getting along with men information. One called What Men Want, where I interview 9 male relationship experts that are unbelievable that talk about this stuff. Really famous guys online, really brilliant guys. And then a program called Single Syndrome that you mentioned with all my favorite real world and out of this world love advice, like mantras for love and rituals for love and shamanic rituals to release men or loves from the past. And then I have an interview series where I interview a monthly expert and people from all over the spectrum. And I just have a blast, and I'm so blessed and fortunate. And I do really, really fun workshops called the Celestial Single Solution. And with the workshop, you do get a reading. So I do still give readings, but only to women that work with me in a larger way. And I do those here live in LA and in New York City. So about 6 times a year. And they just turn into a total love fest. It's a girl party, and they're very small and intimate. It's just like 16 women and me in a circle. So it's a lot of fun.
Wow, that is so amazing. Honestly, I believe in coach, mentors, and things. You know, I totally believe in if I'm not a right client, go to Carol.
Yeah, me too. I send people to other people all the time.
And, you know, everybody has a different fit, and that's totally fine. I believe in the universe is all about knowledge, and we can help people from one point to the next point. I think it's so beautiful to have that. And honestly, if you are hesitant about your relationship, I honestly would want you to reach out, because call to action is such an important, or you're going to be stuck in this cycle. And how long do you want to be stuck in this cycle and not knowing and not having the right tools? And I think having the right tools, how you were mentioning earlier through Carol, I think it's so important to actually have that information so you can make the right decision and the right step. And if you didn't have that knowledge in the past, I think you're going to get stuck in the same cycle, and it's really hard, and you feel alone and frustrated, and you know, nobody really understands you, and we can. I think you know if this message resonate you in any way, any hurt, mean, or even like you get really mad about the stuff that we're saying, I think that's something that triggers you. You gotta feel in order to heal. I totally believe in that, and we got that. Go through it.
And what you don't talk out, you act out. So, yeah.
Exactly. Do you have any last words before we... I hate ending this because I love this so much, but we have to.
Well, and as you can see, I hate to talk. Well, no, I mean, Sindy, this was so much fun, and you are obviously very skilled and very advanced and intelligent, and I'm so grateful to have been here. And, you know, I mean, I think basically everything we've touched on today, it really supports the notion that there's nothing wrong with you. I call it, you're preloaded at the factory, right? You were built to be exactly who you are. And as Westerners, we have this idea that everything is up to us, and that we have to just try and put our best effort out there. And I want you to do your best. And just like the Bhagavad Gita, right, the main spiritual scripture of India says, make the most effort, but let go of the results, right? So be the best you and do all the healing you can, get all the support you need, and take the action to have the life that you want. But as you're going, don't decide how it's supposed to look or what's supposed to happen by what time or any of that. Just really know that you're fine and you're on your journey, and your journey is uniquely yours, and life is a gift. And that's all I got. So, yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was so great to be here. Yay. Bye. God bless everyone.
If you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends, because sharing is caring. If you want my help in your relationship or dating situation, you can always book a time with me. Check out the link below. To stay in touch, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell button so you can be notified when I post new videos. please go ahead, hit the like button because it encouraged me to create more contents like this every week for you. If you have an ideas for a video, please leave it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.